once you came back, what was the biggest thing you realised that you'd missed? Was it just being together as a band? Was it everything that goes with performing live, the touring, seeing different locations?
Yeah, I think the live stuff, and with that, I mean, seeing different locations is interesting because we travelled all around the world the first time around, and I didn't remember seeing much of it at all. To be honest, it was all, getting up late and seeing the inside of a bus. Whereas these days, if we're driving past someone who's got a couple of hours to kill, I'll be the first one saying, let's go and do a National Trust, or going a castle, or stop and do some sort of sightseeing. I'll always get up early and actually got some hours to kill and explore the town. It's nice to travel doing what you love doing, but it's also, it's an opportunity to especially if we get to go abroad, it's really important to know where you're at and get a feel for the place. And so yeah, I really miss doing that when we weren't doing it, and the live stuff. And it's 3 of the original 5 members, and I think that's a much happier place to be than the 5 of us. I think there was some dynamics that didn't always work that well. So us 3 seem to be sort of a bit of a, an easier place to work.
Now, is there anywhere where you've played since you've come back that you hadn't played in sort of the early days, that once you played it you went, oh my god, what were we doing not playing this sooner?
What as far as venues go?
Venues, countries, anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think we've been to more unusual countries. I mean, we've just recently got back from a gig in Georgia, which is on the Black Sea, which is somewhere we'd never been before.
Oh.
I mean, that's the thing. Every now and then, and we did like this crazy, super cheesy TV show in Poland a couple of years back that was part of this big sort of Eurovision-esque thing. It was a massive sort of spectacle. But so that's every now and then you find yourself doing something and you're thinking, where Georgia's beautiful, Tbilisi we did it a few years back, which is beautiful, but you'd never probably go there if you weren't doing a gig. So that's, and as I say, this time around we definitely appreciate it more and enjoy the travelling. So yeah, I don't know. But then saying that, we did some cool stuff. The first time around, we made the second album out in LA, and that was, started off I loved LA, and when the band finished, I went back and lived there for 18 months. And
what was that like?
Yeah, it's an eye opener everywhere.
What was it like when you were living in LA, Joe? I bet the weather was a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was lovely. I went out there to sort of, write and do stuff like that, and in the end, and process what had just happened in our lives, and we ended up living out not in LA so much, but out in a canyon called Topanga Canyon, and grew my hair really long and wrote sort of hippie music, and just enjoyed life, lots of hiking, lots of in the ocean, using the ocean, traveling, doing all the things that apart from being in a band. But yeah, I mean, there's amazing things about LA, and there's also lots of things that you probably what you could do without. But at that particular time in our lives, it was great.
Now, I bet while you was out there, you met and saw some interesting things.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely different things. I mean, it was, as I say, we just spent 3 or 4 years touring relentlessly and doing interviews and blah blah blah. So it was very, very important to find out a bit more about myself and enjoy not being that person for a little while. So yeah, as I say, myself, my wife got married during that time, and it became a different person, and not just. I feel very sorry for people. I say very sorry, but it's sorry. We know these people have been signed in bands and they don't stop for 10, 15 years, and you've missed your 20s and you missed your,
Yeah,
and you kind of just go, wow, who am I? I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to, do just normal stuff. So I was very, very, privileged to be able to take a bit of time off, and I was still working. I did some stuff for some films and did a few score type things, and that was very nice. Writing for different people rather than just writing and with the pressure of a new Toploader album.
I mean, we interview a lot of young aspiring musicians over here, and a lot of them, they have that sort of that big main goal of the glitz and the glamour of what they perceive being touring musicians like. Like, if you had any sort of words of advice to your sort of younger self that you know now that you'd give him, what would you say to him?
Oh God, it would be a lecture, I think. I mean, I think my everything, my heart was in the right place. I don't think I'd coped with the sort of pressure of it very well, and I also just felt very much part of a big machine, really. And we weren't aware of how much input, either creatively or that we had over it. And I think being signed with a major label was very much right. I remember being ill the night we signed our deal, because I was like, it's all you want. It's get signed, and then when it actually happened, I was like, this is where the hard work starts, or the pressure starts, or so it wasn't. I didn't like the pressure. I didn't like as the singer and the writer. I wasn't naturally sort of. I didn't want to go and we weren't Oasis or that where I felt comfortable. Sort of. I don't know. I was a bit of an uncomfortable felt like a bit of an uncomfortable frontman for some of it, but. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably tell to try and slow down, enjoy it more, and realise how much actually creative input you could have into this. Not necessarily to just follow the management or the A&R man. You stand there and stand your ground. But we were young, and as I say, we didn't have any media training. We just were five really very normal working class lads that sort of half couldn't believe their luck that they were doing what they were doing, and it was just relentless from the word go, really. And as I say, I was dealing with some other stuff at the time, and it was just all a bit. I'm sure if we'd have taken a little bit of break, that was the idea, to take a break, really. That just the break turned into 7 or 8 years, basically.
Was there something that somebody had said to you, like, a bit of a words of wisdom type thing, that you didn't necessarily at the time truly get the meaning of? But later on, as you matured and looked back, you went, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense now. I should have listened to that quote that individual said." Or
no, not really. I wish we'd had a bit more. I wish we'd had a bit more input, but not really. I mean, a lot of people when you're, and it's happened. It happened way before us, and it still happened since our first album. It happens all the time. People have a success with their first record or second record, and people are making money, and then suddenly, that's what people are concerned about, and you do get that, so then you're a bit of a commodity, really. So, there's a lot of people that won't necessarily give you the best advice because they are, making, and that's the kind of way the industry works for a lot of people, really. It's sort of very much, you're in through the indoor, and, it's let's keep the wheels turning a little bit. But I mean, we're like, I don't think, I'm not sure, we all talk about it in the band, whether we'd still be playing now if we just carried on, or whether it was necessary to have a break and come back as the three of us, to reach this point, which is a very happy place to be, where we play this, old songs, but we also play new stuff, and we can do new recording without the sort of A&R nonsense that we used to have. So yeah, I think some of the advice for younger artists is probably awful. It might be better now, to be fair, with lots of social media. I do think younger people are much more clued up about the industry and what is required of them. We had no way of learning that in our days.
Now, did you ever sort of have like a bucket list of like musical achievements that you wanted to sort of tick off when you were sort of in the early days? And is there anything still left that you've not yet achieved?
Well, I think I always wanted to just play at Brixton Academy. That was pretty much my, when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, if we can make it to Brixton Academy, I'll be happy. And we did that pretty much when the first album came out, really. So, and after that, everything after that, when you're playing in the stadium, not that our stadiums, but when we were supporting other people playing stadiums, that's everything. Then is just wow. So you get a bit a little bit blasé about it at the time. But as far as achieving things, it's always I as a writer, you just want what I was saying about earlier. You want people just to come up and go, "Love that song. That means something to me," or "That made me feel this," or "This happened in my life and that really resonated with me about this." I think that's all I would ever want to achieve. It's not about playing bigger venues or doing this or I don't know, or number one albums. All that stuff is kind of an empty thing to chase, really. But I do think the writing of stuff is important, and that you kind of resonate and touch people's hearts and soul in the right way is still the goal, I think.
And obviously, you've had huge success, and you've had such a long career and still going. Was there any particular ingredients that you would definitely pinpoint, other than just the talent, that you would say, right, that's the reason. That's the reason we're able to still go, still love it, and still just feel we've got things to achieve. Was there any particular ingredients in that you'd go, right, that's why?
I think to begin with, why we got signed was a huge amount of not blind naivety that we were going to get a record deal and we were going to do this and we were going to do that, and that's lots of bands. So we still see them now. It's like, we're going to do this, and we had no idea how difficult it was, or how many bands would, even when you get signed, don't get to release albums. And so we're truly lucky, and know how privileged we were to get to release it, and that people liked it, and but as far as the ingredients now on stage, I mean, from a live point of view, I think it's whatever the ingredients are for a band that you want to see live, I think we've still got it, and I think we've honed a lot of the craft even better. But I don't know what the ingredients are. It's something that clicks. I know I can feel it on stage when things are going well. It's that little ability to just crank it up a bit and just make it even something special, and that obviously made it sometimes easier when people know some of the songs. Songs like Achilles Heel only for a while was in the first album that people seem to really resonate and remind people of a different time in their lives, which may or may not have been a better time or not, who knows. But yeah, I think I'm still feeling it on stage, and I think the other guys are too, and we're quite conscientious about our sets and what we do, and how we're trying to give people what we're trying to provide for people, which is kind of like an hour's worth of escapism from there's enough problems out there, and that's not what coming to a Toploader show is about. You're not going to hear sort of lots of political stuff that's going to remind you of or you're not going to be thinking about your washing you've left on. Hopefully, no. It's kind of you come for something else, a bit of escapism, and that's what I want. That's what I want. Escapism for us too. So we're all escaping.
Everyone's got something they're escaping from at some point in their life, haven't they? And now I was looking back in the. Because obviously you got early on in your career, you got nominated for some Brits. Now I was looking back at some of the categories of people that you were in there with. Like, I mean, what a class! I mean, likes of Robbie Williams. You got Coldplay he was in with, Craig David. Now looking back, how does that sort of feel like now, like 20 odd years later? Like,
I think they were our peers at that particular stage. Our album had been out, and the second, we did lots of gigs with Coldplay before we both had deals, and did a tour in Germany with them and Star Sailor, and so we knew a lot of these guys, and I don't think we really ever thought we were going to win any Brits. I think our A&R guy, MD, told us about half an hour before the awards ceremony started that we hadn't won it, so we decided, well, that's great.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Now we can just get drunk and don't have to worry about the speech. But yeah, I mean, it's very privileged to be. It's nice to be nominated. I don't think we ever cared that we've only ever used it in bios and things like that. 4 nominated Brits.
Was there anyone sort of before or since that where you met your like a musical hero that you might have thought when you were younger, oh, I'd love to meet him, and he was everything I wanted him to be?
I don't know about musical heroes. I mean, say we met Maka briefly, and obviously a Beatle. They're the gods of all music, but it wasn't a situation that you didn't really get to hang out with him. Really, it was a sort of like a Jubilee kind of thing. I don't know really. I mean, it was lots of bands we played with early on, and you go, we did gigs with Muse, and you just go. And also, we did lots of gigs with bands that we didn't think were that. You just do lots of, and the ones that really stood out. We saw Muse play ages before records come out and stuff like that, and you just go, they're great. And Coldplay, like saying, they just had this thing, and there was a sort of handful of bands every now and then you do stuff with and go, you can see them having, doing good stuff and having long careers. So, I mean, as far as meeting your idols go, I don't know. I mean, we were sort of post. It was always funny when you bump into sort of Liam or Liam especially. It was always good value for money. But we were sort of slightly after that, so it was always like. But we knew those people as well. But it was a great time.
Now, sort of final couple of things really. Is there any sort of quite funny stories or things that had happened throughout your career where either on stage or in an interview or anything you look back with some degree of like fondness for whatever reason?
I think there would be. I mean, there'd be hundreds of different things.
Does any one stand out, do you reckon?
I think for me, I mean, hearing Achilles heel on the radio for me was the first time was quite a moving moment to actually something you'd written in a flat on an electric piano shoved in the corner of your bedroom, and actually hearing it on the radio with full strings and all this sort of thing was our first performance on TFI was a real sort of standout. It was our first TV show we'd ever done, and it's a real sort of a kind of electric performance, and I think everyone, people from a live point of view were going, oh, who's this band? Who's this guy with the curly hair? And that was a big moment. I mean, there's been lots of things along the way, and even recently, really. I mean, we spend most of our time in the van, doing before gigs up and having a laugh, and it's very enjoyable. I'm sure we wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it. So
no. Now,
many good moments.
Have you got any sort of like new music on the horizon that all us fans can look forward to hearing very soon?
Well, yeah, we've been playing some songs this last year and this year, some new stuff in the festival circuit. Definitely going to be recorded, if not later on this year, then early next year. A song called Signs of Life we've been playing live, which got a big sing-along bit in the middle, which the crowd kind of have been loving. There's a new song called Sleepyhead, which is kind of a little bit proggy, very sort of Genesis-esque sort of vibe to it.
Nice.
And it's great, yeah. It's been going down very well live. And another song which is called Be Kind to Yourself, which is very much a song about sort of, valuing yourself and not letting people kind of walk all over you. And, in this day and age, I think it's sort of very important to do that. I think in the age of sort of social media, it's very easy to get caught up with everything else that's going on and forget about, to look after yourself. So that's very much what that song's about.
And actually, you just made me think of something there. Now, obviously, you've got a song called Be Kind to Yourself. Now, obviously, we all live in a social media age. How do you think you would have, what younger you would sort of have reacted, like, coming up with social media? Like, if it was around when you sort of broke out and got to...
I'm so glad it wasn't.
Because I think
I don't think it would help at all.
It has pros, but it has a lot of cons, doesn't it, Joe? I mean,
well, I don't think it would help us as a band particularly. I mean, we had one of the first websites which had a forum on it, and it was, I don't think we were particularly social media savvy. Even, it's taken a long time to, even when we came back, to get a Facebook page together and all that sort of thing. So we finally, we've got together with the fact it's like a marketing tool and all that sort of thing now. But I don't know. I think we just enjoyed. It was nice to enjoy it without all the pressures of that. And now, being in a band is very much, how many followers you've got, especially when you're starting out and promoting stuff. But everyone's doing it, and everyone's got it, and there's 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every day. It's very easy to just put, I've got my new albums out, and it wasn't like that particularly then. So I think we were quite privileged not to have that. But like you say, there's pros to it, and there's definitely cons.
And final two, I promise. Now, what would you particularly say you've yet to achieve that you haven't?
I definitely don't think of it like that. Really, what I haven't achieved. I think we're super lucky to be able to carry on playing music and hopefully making people happy. We're lucky to have a song like Dancing in the Moonlight, which seems to just carry on in the ether, doing what it does to new generations sort of over and over again, hopefully.
Mate, you'll still be playing that song when you're 75. It's just it's one of them, isn't it? You'll be like the Stones.
I'm sure I probably will. Yeah. So I mean, what's left to achieve? I don't, definitely don't think of it in those terms.
And finally, what would you say is possibly the best way to describe a legacy you would want to leave?
What the legacy? Like the ability to play music that people can escape to, play and write music that people can escape to, and make them forget about the humdrum of normal life, maybe.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Joe. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, nice one, Jordan.
Thank you very much. I hope you have a great show.
All right, nice one, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.